we bring you a chilling short story titled Countdown to the Beast. Your countdown will begin as soon as you finish this story. The clock struck 12, and I was fast asleep. From the darkness of my mind woke a strange echoing laughter, ringing out as a bell chiming its 12 tolls. Rhythmic laughter, hollow laughter, like a broken toy which mimics life and macabre falsity. Why are you laughing? I asked the darkness of my dream. I laugh because I am afraid, it says, the laughter unabated by the words. When I'm afraid I scream, I told it in a matter-of-fact tone. You're only supposed to laugh when something is funny. But I daren't let him know that I am afraid, and so I laugh, cackled the voice. What is there to be afraid of? I ask. Lots of things. I'm afraid of how people will remember me, and I'm afraid that they don't anymore. I'm afraid of noises without forms, and forms without noise. I'm afraid of pain without a source, because it can't be stopped. I'm afraid of a source without pain, because it means that I'm already gone. But most of all, I'm afraid of time. What is frightening about time? Nothing, so long as it's there. But I'm afraid of time running out. I'm afraid of 11, so I laugh, the voice trembled. The number 11? I am quite mystified. What about that makes you afraid? I am afraid because it isn't 12. I'm afraid because 12 is gone forever. I'm afraid because he's already here, the beast who devours time. Who is here? I asked in alarm. I could still hear the laughter when I woke up. I don't know which was more unsettling, thinking I was still dreaming, or realizing that I was the one laughing. The sun was bright though, flooding my little room through the window my mother was opening. You must have had a very funny dream to laugh like that. I didn't want to wake you, but it's time for school. How early is it? I asked blearily, sitting up in bed. 10 you normally get up, she said clearly. 10? What? I'm already late. Why did you let me sleep so long? I sprang from bed and began flinging through the clothes on the floor, looking for something clean to wear. What are you rushing for? She said, laughing. I said when you normally wake up. It's only 7 now. Take your time, get dressed, the eggs will be ready in a few minutes. She laughed to see me frozen in confusion with one leg half stuffed into my trousers, and left the room. There is something I didn't like about her laugh right then. It seemed too loud and forced. Too artificial. I shrugged and dressed leisurely in a slightly used t-shirt and heavily used jeans, gathering up my spread of books and pens left out for homework the night before. I came downstairs presently, and sat down at the kitchen table, rubbing my eyes. My younger sister was already sitting there, glancing disinterestedly through the paper as she looked for comics. She was 2 years younger than me in 4th grade, sitting cross-legged in her chair with hair bunched up into pigtails which bounced when she spoke. The smell of eggs was familiar and comforting, and I could hear the bacon sizzling along beside it. Newspaper off the table, Mother said, steering the heavily laden plates into place. Anything happened today? I asked my sister Clara as she folded the paper and tucked it away. 9, she replied distinctly. What? I said no. Can't you hear? No, you said 9. I heard you say 9. Wake up, idiot, she replied, adding a conspiratorial wink. Children, be good. Now eat up before the bus comes, Mother said, sitting down beside us. Mom, what happens when time runs out? My sister asked Mother innocently between mouthfuls. I dropped my fork laden with eggs, and it rattled to the floor in the sudden silence. Time doesn't run out, dear. It goes on forever. But I mean if it did. What would happen? Clara persisted. I pushed my chair back and kneeled down to retrieve my fork, listening intently. Well, I suppose nothing would happen. We'd all just sort of be stuck, wouldn't we? Nothing would happen forever. Now eat up. I'm going to go wake your father. Mother stood and glided from the room, but I didn't notice her leave. I don't know how, but Clara knew about my dream. Why the hell would you ask that? I demanded. A ringing echo of laughter danced along the back of my brain, and I shivered involuntarily. Don't know, she said, shuffling her eggs about her plate. What? I said I don't know, she snapped. What's wrong with you today? Then after a pause, she added, I suppose it's because time is running out. I just wanted to know what will happen then. I don't think Mother is right though. Do you know what I think will happen? She looked directly at me with wide and curious eyes. No, and I don't care, I replied. I think, she ignored me, speaking as though to herself. I think that when our time runs out in this waking world we become the one in the dream. What do you know about my dream? What happened to you? I asked. But that doesn't seem so bad to me, she said, eyes still wide. I shifted slightly as though to stand, and her eyes did not follow me. She spoke on as though completely unaware of my presence. When we're in the dream, we get to be the one who laughs. That doesn't sound so bad, does it? Even if we're afraid, we'll still get to laugh. I'm starving, I heard my father's voice from the hall. Is that freshly cooked bacon? Smells like seven. Like heaven, I mumbled to myself. He said it smells like heaven. No, he didn't. My sister giggled quietly in a sing-song voice. I leapt to my feet and confronted her. But she was now focusing on her plate once more, and showed no signs of continuing her thoughts. This wasn't making any sense. Time can't run out, and dreams are just dreams. Clara was playing a game. She liked games. She liked to tease me. But how does she know of my dream? I shook it away and ran from the room. It didn't matter. I just had to get out of here. It was going to be a normal school day, with lunch at 11:30, gym in the afternoon, and music after that, and nothing was strange at all. In a matter of seconds I was standing on the street corner, one shoe untied, hair uncombed, teeth unbrushed, and a stinging wind bringing me back to reality. I laughed at how silly I was being, and laughed again to think what my sister would say if she knew how scared I had been. Then I laughed a third time because I couldn't stop, and a fourth because I noticed the laughter rang out in short, evenly spaced bursts, like the ringing of a bell. I laughed a fifth time, and then a sixth, and the sweat began to form on my forehead. I couldn't stop. I clasped my hands over my mouth, but my body was shaking so badly I couldn't contain myself. Gasping for breath, a seventh ringing laughter escaped me. Each was spaced perfectly, with perfectly consistent duration, and the same hollow ring which resounded like the creature in the darkness of my sleep. The next I knew, I was sitting on the cold sidewalk, looking down at my untied shoe. Clara had just left the house, perfectly neat and ordered with her pink backpack zipped tight and slung over both shoulders. She was looking down at me and smiling. "Are we still at 7?" she asked innocently. "Good, then you'll still be here on the bus." I hate sitting alone. Why, how? I gasped the clean cold air into my lungs that the dark laughter had denied me. "Did you dream about the creature laughing in the darkness too?" "Don't be silly," she said. "Two people can't have the same dream. Then how do you know about time running out?" She looked down at me and smiled sweetly. "Because I was the one laughing. It got me the night before last." I stared at her in blank wonderment. Something was wrong. Her smile kept stretching wider. I swear I've never seen her show that many teeth before. Then she turned away, and I rubbed my eyes. The faded yellow school bus rolled into view, bumping and clattering down the road of our neighborhood, which was strewn with potholes. The two Mumford boys who lived nearby were just jogging up the sidewalk now to join us. "I told you we'd be on time," said the first. "Told you I could hear the bus from a mile off. All the bumps in the road make it rattle like crazy. I wish they would fix those," said the other. "It's hard to sleep when it's jumping around like that. He meant fix those," Clara giggled, offering her hand down to me to help me stand. "Shut up," I said, batting her hand away and standing on my own. "You're full of shit and lies, so shut up. The Mumford boys started chuckling next to me, and I could hear them whispering to each other. "Did you hear what he just said?" "I know." "And you too, shut the fuck up," I roared at them. They cowered as though I would hit them. Why would I hit them? I've never hit anybody before. But I can't deny that I wanted to. The feeling burned in my hands and chest. I wanted to beat them bloody. I unclenched my fists and took a deep breath. The bus stopped, and the Mumford boys ran inside like they were trying to get away from me. I got on and searched for Louise, moving to sit beside her. The seat next to her had always been empty for the last few weeks, and this way I wouldn't have to sit next to my sister. There was Louise, her slouched, lumpy shape, her downcast face hidden in the same hoodie she always wore. I never thought I'd be so relieved to see her. Clara stuck out her tongue as she passed me, sitting in the back with the other 4th grade girls. Louise was just staring out the window, so I didn't even have to talk to her, but I wanted distraction from all these unbidden thoughts. I stared at the back of Louise for a full minute without her turning to look at me. "How are, Louise?" I asked her hoodie. Five. Fine, I'm fine," she mumbled. "So much for getting my mind off of it." She drew her hood a little tighter around her face. "Why did you correct yourself? Do you know that you said 5 first?" I asked. "Yeah. Don't know why. You too then," I exclaimed. "Well, other people have been counting for me. I haven't been." "Did you have the dream?" "I don't know. I guess." "Time is running out," she mumbled, still not facing me. The bus had begun its lurching rattle towards school. "That was a long time ago though. "What do you mean? Time already ran out?" I asked. "Well, not for everyone. It did for me though." She finally turned towards me, and she was grinning. I had never seen Louise smile before. Her face was fat and dumpy, but her smile was huge. The longer I stared, the wider it got, until it looked as though it would split her whole head in two. I leapt into the aisle, and the next lurch of the bus sent me to my knees. "I counted down weeks ago," Louise said, but her smile remained fixed and motionless as the words came out. She started to stand over me, and I scooted away along the floor, not taking my eyes off her. "Oh, me too," I heard another voice pipe up. Wilson, one of the 5th graders. He was standing a few rows back, and I watched in horror as his smile continued to grow. "I was afraid at first, but I'm not anymore. He doesn't like it when you're afraid." Now I just laughed. "You can't let him see you being afraid," Louise said from behind. "Is someone on the floor back there?" yelled the bus driver. "Get off the floor, get to your seats. God's sakes, we're almost there. "Yes, sir," replied Louise and Wilson in perfect unison. I clambered back into my seat, not looking at either of them. "What happens if he sees you're afraid?" I whisper out of the corner of my mouth. Louise laughed. I looked at her now, and saw her mouth opening so wide that it stretched from ear to ear, opening up large enough to swallow my whole head. Her teeth and tongue were still normal size though, and they were so disproportionate to the swollen mouth that the teeth looked like tiny splinters hammered into her gums, while her tongue lolled about disgustingly in the back like a shriveled-up slug. Wilson gave an identical peal of laughter from behind, and I turned to see his mouth stretching gruesomely wide as well. Then Clara, my poor sister Clara, laughed in turn, but I refused to look at her. I couldn't bear to see her like that. The 4th toll. I knew it was coming, but I couldn't stop myself. I took a deep breath of air and clasped my hands over my mouth, but I felt the trembling well up inside me. I shook so violently that I was afraid I would literally rip apart if I didn't let it out. I felt seams burning into my skin as it stretched from within, and bright red lines shot down my arms where the blood swelled up underneath. I screwed my eyes tight and gave in, laughing the 4th toll. "Good for you," I heard Clara say before me. "Keep laughing. Then he won't know. 3 are here. Now get out, you little rascals. Stop whatever you're playing at back there and get out," the bus driver called as the rickety vehicle pulled to a stop. The doors slid open, and all the children filed out, bustling against each other, and talking and laughing as though nothing happened. I turned to Louise, who was looking at me with dead blank eyes, her mouth having recovered its old shape. "What are you staring at?" she asked in monotone. "Stop blocking the way and let me out. I stepped aside quietly, and she shoved past me. My heart was racing. I felt sweat trickling along my neck, snaking its way down my back. I filed out of the bus, wordless. Clara stepped past me, smiling sweetly. I didn't say anything. If I opened my mouth now, I was afraid that I would scream. Or worse yet, I would laugh again. I mustn't let him know that I'm afraid, or he'll take me too. A nausea swelled up inside me, and I stepped aside from the others to take a few deep breaths, hands on my knees. I can't scream. I won't. I can't. He won't take me like that. You know, we all think that, Clara says from behind. I jumped. Some of us don't even make it to one. They get so terrified before that he goes ahead and takes them early. He won't take me. I'm not afraid, I said belligerently. The countdown will hit 0, and I still won't be afraid, and then it will all be gone, right? I'll wake up, or realize it was all a joke and I'll laugh, and oh, I won't laugh, no more laughing. But it'll all be over. I'll have passed, right? I don't know, she said thoughtfully. I don't think anyone has ever passed before. I thought I would, but then he came and I was afraid too. Afraid too? Or two? Two or two, I shouted at her, both sounding the same. Other children began to stare at me and point, but my voice kept getting louder. Two or two? Two or two? She laughed, not a hollow laugh but a good-natured one. See you on the other side, she said, and turned to go inside the building. Everyone else was inside now. If I walked in, then someone would say, the final countdown, and he would come and take me. That was it. If I stayed out here, completely alone, then there would be no one to say the words. I just had to sit out here until it had all passed over. I just had to sit out here until I woke up. I walked alone to the playground, chill breeze lifting with the warming sun. I saw the kids running about the hall through the window, but they wouldn't find me. No one would find me out here. I was conscious of how loud my footfalls were on the wood chips by the swings, so I turned and hurried to the pavement as quickly as I could. But my heart was beating so loudly I was sure someone would hear it. Someone would find me and say the words, and it would be over. I tried my chest with my hands, but it wouldn't be still. God damn it, I wished it would stop beating. I pounded my chest in aggravation, wondering if I could find something sharp to silence it. I didn't think about it as killing myself then, I just wanted the damn thing to stop. I sat down on the curb, my hands clawing through my hair in aggravation. Maybe my ears. Maybe I could pull my ears off, and I wouldn't hear the final count. It wouldn't work if I couldn't hear it, right? He wouldn't be able to take me then. I grabbed my right ear with both hands and pulled so hard I thought it must come off, but then I cried out from the pain and let go. Had someone heard me? Would they come? My face felt so hot against the cool wind, my body was trembling, and I began to cry. No! Someone will hear. But the trembling built to shakes, and the shakes into convulsions, and before I knew it, I was sobbing out loud. I couldn't be alone forever. I had to make this stop. I wiped away my tears angrily and stood. Defiantly I yelled into the wind. 1. Are you happy now? I want to wake up. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 0. Did you hear me? I heard the howling of the wind getting louder behind me. This was it. He was coming, and it would all be over. I said 0, the roar behind me was deafening. At last I couldn't hear my own heart anymore. 12, I shouted again. I said 12, and then I began to laugh. I felt a splitting pain in the sides of my mouth and I laughed even harder, knowing it was coming. Blood began gushing down my face as my maw distended horribly, and the laughter kept ringing out in even bursts. Rhythmic laughter, hollow laughter, like a broken toy. You might ask me why I laughed then, and I would tell you it was because I was afraid. You might not understand, but you will. I laughed because 12 was gone forever. I laughed because I was afraid of 11.